the truth shall set you free, or so they say. What we heard last Thursday was indeed the truth. And we can only pray that the truth has indeed begun to set the families of the 48 free. Free from the campaigning, the meetings, the closed doors, the trauma, the criticism, the lies. Free from 43 years of seeking the truth. Free from the disgusting suspicion that the phrase probable arson has hung around the entirety of North Dublin for 2 generations. Free in the knowledge that the souls of the 48 or 49, including Caroline Carey's unborn baby, can indeed now rest in peace and rest in freedom. Growing up in North Dublin, the Stardust was an open wound that never healed. Spoken about in hushed tones, the very word Stardust reminded us of unspeakable horrors. Young people lured into a death trap, their lives and futures stolen from them, their families bereft with grief, all for the hands that fumbled in a greasy till. My granny lived in Donecarney, my father spent his teaching life in Whitehall, my brothers went to school in Chanel. When they spoke of Stardust, it wasn't just the loss of life, it was the stench of injustice. The finding of unlawful killing should have been made 43 years ago. The reasons that it took 43 years are inescapable. It was because of where the fire took place and the background of many of those who attended. A prominently working-class community where lives just weren't as important. It is an insult to the very concept of a republic that anyone should live a second-class life or die a second-class death, but it is an undeniable truth. And in this chamber, the symbol of that republic on this day of all days, we must speak the truth, because the truth shall set you free. None of us can possibly comprehend the loss of a child in a fire. To know that your child or sibling or parent could have escaped if the exit doors weren't hampered is a heartbreak. To learn that the immediate tribunal findings were of probable arson and that the owner of the nightclub was the one to get compensated would surely push you over the edge. And many were pushed over the edge. In his book, They Never Came Home, which I must have read 10 times, Neil Feddison and Tony McCullough write of those numbers outside of the 48, those who succumbed to the darkness in their minds caused by their loss or by their experiences, who didn't make to see this day. Our hearts break for them and for their families today. The truth, we hope, has set you free. We must reflect on that darkness within Irish society that thinks the worst of those who need us to hear the truth, but also a society that thinks the best of those who wear a suit and tie and lie. Not just the nightclub owner who oversaw a disaster waiting to happen, but developers who have constructed fire-trap apartment blocks with the full blessing of the political system. We have to ask about those second-class lives who are still not worthy of the truth, or those other cases of injustice from those from the wrong sides of the track. I'm thinking today, for example, of the family of Terence Wheelock, a healthy young man who walked into Store Street Garda Station almost 20 years ago, but came out in a coffin. Those things just don't happen to middle-class men. And indeed, the families of the Dublin Monaghan bombings, who still seek the truth. To the families here today, you have given this country the truth. You have given hope to all who yearn for the truth. You were inspired by the Bloody Sunday families in Derry and the Hillsborough families in Liverpool. And I know what you were told. There was nothing to be achieved in pursuing this campaign, that all evidence was lost, that you need to move on, that you're difficult, that you can't accept the truth. Well, you didn't accept those words because they weren't the truth. You have the truth now. The truth is setting all of us free. There are many who need to be mentioned. Those family members who never grew up, the firefighters on the scene that night, the journalists, especially Charlie Bird, who even when his voice was gone through illness, the truth in his eyes endured. The truth in the words sung by Christy Moore, the classmates with empty desks in their classrooms, the Gardaí, teachers, nurses, doctors, all those public servants for whom Stardust is not a topic of discussion, but a moment when their hearts broke forever. Those in this proud Northside community whose hearts were broken and are still broken. If those you loved were unlawfully killed, then someone unlawfully killed them. It is time for the Gardaí, the DPP and the Minister for Justice to do what is right. What would happen in any other case of corporate manslaughter in any other part of the city? There must be another day in court. Stardust will always be a scar, a tale of greed, a tale of recklessness, a tale of horror, of poisonous lies, but of resilience, of hope, of campaigning and of truth. The Stardust families are heroes of this republic. We are honoured to be in their presence today. They would much rather not be here. They would much rather have seen their loved ones grow older in the last 43 years. But you have all made us want to be better, to work harder, to campaign more, to listen more, to judge less, and to speak the truth. The truth, we hope, has set you free and set free the souls of Michael, Richard, Carol, James, Paula, Caroline, John, Jacqueline, Liam, Michael, David, Thelma, Michael, Josephine, Michael, Robert, Brian, Eugene, Myrta, Martina, Mary, Robert, Mary, Margaret, Sandra, Francis, Maureen, Paula, Eamon, George, Marcella, William, Julie, Teresa, Gerard, Caroline, Donna, Helena, James, Susan, David, Kathleen, George, Brendan, John, Margaret and Paul. All their faces that rightfully hung up on the wall of the Rotunda Inquest Hall. An injustice on this scale can fester and make you feel that you can never trust the state again. But earlier I saw a rose in the gallery. And from this darkness, maybe something can grow. Truth and hope. Truth will always set us free.